Just wanted to show you very briefly my composting operation here, and it's not, you can't, as you can see, it's the only one section here, but what I did was I nailed together 3 pallets and piled in all my organic material, which I'm still building, being that it is early in the season. It's the microbial activity has pretty much ceased since last season, but I've been adding organic material from previous piles, as well as some garden soil and some kitchen waste, and it's well on its way to becoming a good pile. When the temperatures, I find that when the temperatures stay above a certain level, the activity continues. But after, because this was a late pile, I built it kind of late in the season, and it pretty much shut down after the ground started freezing up, and it's now to the point where, and the thing is, as you can see, still have some pretty green grass clippings here, so it should fire up as soon as the sun warms things up and it stops getting so cold at night. The activity's most definitely going to continue again, and I'm going to be building up on this pile. It was about 5 feet high, as you can see from the pallets. It is pretty high, but it had shrunk down to the point where it's only about 3 feet high now, and I'm going to try to pull the front off. And I have a broken pallet. It's not a full pallet, it's broken, and this pallet is the one that I used to close off the front of it. And as you can see, the layers are very discernible in the pile. I have not turned this yet, but as things warm up and the pile starts heating up again, I'm going to be turning it, and I'll turn it into another one which will go over here, and I'll simply fork, and I'll start in the on the top, take off the first foot or so of material, and then I'm going to take off the edges, because the edges are the ones that are the material on the edges are the ones, the stuff that is least warm, whereas the middle is the warmest. And that's pretty understandable logic. But what I do is I take off the first foot or so, put it right in the center of that bare spot there, and then I'll take the edges, the greenest, most unbroken down part of it, and then put that right on top of that, and then I'll fork in right in the center, and I'll pile that, the center stuff, which is the most broken down, that goes around the edges. So in other words, you're building a pile in reverse. You're putting the least broken down material in the center, and that will become the center, and that will heat up, whereas the material that's on the edges and on the bottom, particularly that stuff which is very nearly done composting, that will go around the edges and on the top, and you'll have a pile that had been turned completely inside out and upside down, and that way the inside will cook, thus finishing off the pile. And what you really want to do is accomplish a number of things. Number 2, you want to break down all the lignins and the cellulose material, which is basically composed of what they call brown matter, which is old stems and dried out leaves and sticks. And don't be afraid to throw sticks, because these are pretty much dead anyway. Sticks and add carbonaceous material, and the bacteria love carbon. They're carbon hungry. So what you need to do is, I basically don't pay attention to the old standard formula put out by these so-called college people, experts. They say that you have to go green and brown, and I don't bother with that too much. I just go with the stuff that works best with me. Anyway, this is going to end pretty soon, so let me get out of here and put